I'm here on behalf of the RWTH Aachen, and I'm going to present our work on fine-grained feature extraction in point clouds for civil infrastructure. So since we are no longer in the Scan2BIM session, I thought I would leave a short slide introducing our problem formulation. So we have a point cloud, and we want to extract a geometric semantic model, and in the middle, we still have this very essential step of segmenting patches and then classifying them corresponding to what kind of geometry we want to fit or what kind of semantics we want to introduce into our geometric semantic model. And this has been now increasingly been done with deep learning, so this is the direction in which the research is going. And we have had the experience in prior works that what is often done as a pre-processing step is to subsample your point cloud. Right? And so you do this for two reasons. One of them is to get a homogeneous density of your point cloud, and the other one is to reduce the memory footprint of the whole operation. And especially with large models of bridges, it was the case that we got better results when we subsampled the point cloud very aggressively, because then we can use the larger context. But unfortunately, this leads to other problems, which is that we then lose information, fine-grained information about texture and material. And this led to our research question, which is if we can now formulate this as a two-stage problem, where in the first we try to extract prior information about the materials and the texture as a task-agnostic model, and then use those embeddings in a second stage large context model. And as a subsequent question came the question whether we or what kind of features are important for these embeddings. Right. And these are essentially all the features we have as a starting point. These are the colors which come from the onboard camera, but we also have, of course, the intensities of the reflected signals. And we can, in this publication, we are going one step further in that we are also using the raw data, so the raw signal, also called the full waveform signal, to extract additional features. Yeah, so maybe a short introduction about what a full waveform is. It's normally used to determine the distance to multiple targets, and that is because the beam of the LiDAR is never really infinitely small. It has some sort of a certain diameter, which leads to the fact that we can intersect with multiple geometries along its path. And then it would be a natural extension to say, well, can we detect some sort of structure within the material which we are targeting? And maybe a third important note is that the signal form, if we are to use it directly, then we should always take into account the angle of incidence, since as we can see in this simulation, it actually also affects quite a lot the signal which we get. We are also using classical statistical analysis or eigendecomposition to gather some features of the immediate neighborhood. And as we can see here, this allows us to separate vertical and homogeneous or flat structures from each other by analyzing the eigenvalues of the covariance matrix. Okay, so putting all of this together, this leads us to the architecture which we designed, where we have a dense point cloud and a sparse point cloud, and we are right now only working with the dense point cloud, and we are saying let's gather a small neighborhood from every query point in the sparse point cloud, and let's have two neighborhoods, one large one and one smaller one, where the smaller one is used for eigenvalue decomposition, while the larger context of 128 points is then fed into a typical shared multi-layer perceptron network. And this is quite typical. The only difference is that we now also have this part here where we use a 1D convolution to also convolve the full waveform signal. And we furthermore have a skip connection here after the max pooling in order to give a better signal to the query point. As we can see here, this already gives us a nice prior about the material, which in this case is correctly giving us prior information that this building part is made out of metal. So how did we train our network? We created a data set, of course, which was with a terrestrial laser scanner. We scanned 18 bridges, which we then classified into 78 total classes. And in order to reduce the complexity, we introduced a hierarchical schema. So let me show you what I mean by that. So we made it into 4 levels where we have increasing complexity with each semantic level, where we start with very few classes and increasing complexity until we get all sorts of small details and objects. But actually in this publication we are only concerned with our last layer in this structure, which is the material one, and that is because we suppose that these can be classified with local information only. And this is just a sanity check to show you how the different waveforms, the representative averages of all points in the data set look like for a mesh material, which has some structure compared to a flat metal surface. So these are our results. You can check those in the paper for more detail if you want. I'm just going to highlight a few important things here. So we noticed that using the full waveform information did in fact contribute a significant amount of 3% IOU to the total, but all of that leading to a total of around 30% IOU when we also introduced the complete feature set with geometry, incidence angles, distances, intensities, and so forth. But interestingly, after adding the eigenfeatures, we also noticed that now removing the full waveform information actually no longer made any statistically significant difference in the output. A second thing we also tried, because we wanted to quantify it better per feature, is that we integrated our gradients with the intent that a high gradient in the output can be interpreted as a high future relevance, and since the output function can be saturated due to the non-linearities, we need to specify a baseline point and then integrate the gradients along that path to get a total contribution for every single feature towards that output. This is what the integrated gradients are telling us. And if we now visualize that over our entire data set, we can see that not very surprisingly, the network concentrated mostly on the intensities to classify the materials and on the colors. Especially the green channel had very high gradients, but also our full waveform contributed a significant amount to the network output, which indicates that if it is available, it is also made use. It's also used for the output. Whereas the individual geometric features at some point start to fall off. And what we believe here is that there are just very high correlations between those two, between the single geometric features. But what we can now do is we can view our probabilities, which look like this. So we can see that there is nice separation between the classes, maybe some difficulties between asphalt and concrete, but it does give us a nice prior which we can use in subsequent models. One important point to make here is that gathering this kind of data is very expensive and takes quite a lot of time. And even so, we see that if we train models with different volumes of training data, what we get at the end is this curve, and we can see that the tendency starting from 6-point clouds to 12-point clouds doesn't indicate any saturation, which means that we need more training data. Short summary. So classifying materials from point clouds is quite difficult, but we still get usable IOU, but this is not the end goal. We actually want to just use it as a prior for bigger context models, which is our main outlook. And when it comes to difficulties with training data volume, we also intend to work in the future with synthetic data generated from PBR material textures. Yeah, thanks a lot for listening, and I would be happy to engage in any discussion.
Thank you. So we have time